Welcome to the Pearson Access Next Test Administrator Training. Today I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know to be successful in administering the PARCC test to your students. Let's get started. I'm going to assume that you've been given the proper website address to use via email or some other announcement. Once you navigate to the website, you will need to click the green Sign In button. On the next screen, enter your username and password and then click the Sign In button. Your username and password should have been provided to you in an email from Pearson. There are two versions of the Pearson Access Next website. One is used for training and infrastructure trials, and the other is used for live testing. So the first thing that you need to do once you are signed in is to verify that you have signed in to the one that you need. Here's how to tell. If you are on the training site, there will be a training label in the top left corner. You will also notice that the color scheme is brown. If you are on the live testing site, there is no training label and the color scheme is blue, as you can see here. The color schemes are quite different so that you know which version of the site you are on at all times. We're going to continue using the training site for this demonstration. The next thing that we need to do is make sure that we select the correct testing period. You will notice at the top of the screen it says PARCC 2014-2015 Fall Block EOY. You may need to change this to a different test. In my case, I'm going to select the PARCC Operational Spring PBA 2015. During live testing, the option you need should be obvious, and I expect the correct one to automatically be selected. Now that all of that is out of the way, we can get to the meat of the training. From the testing menu, select the Students in Sessions option. On the left-hand side of this page, there is a text box under Session List. You are going to type your session name into this box. To get your session name, you will need your seal code sheet, which will be provided to you on the day of testing. This is an example of a seal code sheet, and as you can see, there is a session name at the top. Once you have entered the session name into the text box, press Enter, and you will see the screen change to look like this. This screen is where you're going to spend most of your time. It is divided into distinct areas, each with their own specific function. I'm going to cover the ones that will be most useful to you as a test administrator. Because for this demonstration my screen size is particularly small, the first thing I'm going to do is hide the filters area so that I can see more columns in the list of students at the bottom of the page. You can choose to do this or not depending on your screen size. The second thing I'm going to do is change the number of students that are displayed. If you have more than 25 students in your session, you might benefit from displaying 50 students. This is particularly useful if you have only a few more than 25 students. Students will not be able to start testing until you start the test session, so let's do that. Starting a test session is as simple as clicking the green Start button. You will see that after clicking the Start button, it is replaced by a Stop button. That's it. Your session is started and students can now log in. Below the Stop button, you will notice a gray bar. This is a progress bar that will help you get an idea of the overall testing status of the students in your session. Each testing status has its own color, which is displayed in a key below the progress bar. The bar is currently gray because all of my students are in the ready state, which means that they have not started testing yet. The testing status for individual students is displayed in the list at the bottom of the page. The color codes are the same as the progress bar above, but here there is also a text label to help identify the status. The progress bar and student statuses do not update automatically. You must click the blue refresh button in order to update them. My students have now started testing and I have clicked the refresh button. You will notice that the progress bar is now fully green and the student list shows the students as active. If you want to see the individual progress for a student, you can click on their status. If you'd like, you can enlarge this pop-up window by clicking the left-hand icon in the top right-hand corner. The first thing you'll notice is a progress bar similar to the last screen, but this one displays the student's item progress. The key for this progress bar is also displayed beneath the bar. If you scroll down, you can see whether the student has visited and/or answered each question. You can also see a timestamp of the last time that they visited this question. It is important to note that the test answers are uploaded from a student's device to Pearson 3 at a time. This means that the information will update with a slight delay. Also, like the previous screen, this one does not update automatically, so you will need to use the blue refresh button at the top of the student progress window to refresh the information. When you are done looking at this student's information, you can close the window by clicking the X in the top right-hand corner. The next item we are going to cover is resuming student tests. There are two ways to do this. Which option you choose will depend on the number of students that need to be resumed. First, let's look at an example of a single student that perhaps had technical issues and exited the test to resolve them. They now need to sign back in, but as you can see here, their testing status displays as exited. In order for them to be able to resume testing, click on the arrow next to their testing status and choose Resume from the drop-down. Their testing status should now display as resumed, and the student can log back in. Second, let's look at an example of a single student that perhaps accidentally leaned on their power button and turned off their device. Their testing status will continue to display as active, as you can see here, but if they try to log in, they see this error message stating that they need to have their test resumed. In order for them to be able to resume testing, we will do the same steps as before and click on the arrow next to their testing status, then choose Resume from the drop-down. Their testing status should now display as resumed, and the student can log back in. Finally, let's look at an example of all of our students that, as instructed, have exited their test at the end of the previous day's testing. You can see here that all of my students are displayed as exited. Rather than click each of their statuses and set them to if resumed, I will first select them all by using this checkbox. A quick note here, this only works if you have set your display settings so that you can see all of your students. Then I will go to Select Tasks at the top of the page, check off Resume Student Tests, and click Start. On this next screen, I will check the top checkbox to select all of my students. Then I will uncheck all of my students that are absent today. We don't want them testing from home. Next, I will click Resume at the bottom of the page. Once you see the green status update at the top of the page, click on Exit Task. You should see Resumed as the testing status for all of the students that you selected. The final item I have to show you is how to stop the session. As you might guess, this is as simple as pressing the stop button. However, you cannot stop the session unless all students have completed the test. This might happen if one of your students was absent during testing. District administrators will handle stopping your session for you after they make arrangements for any makeup testing. That's it, we've come to the end. You've made it through test administrator training. Review this video before the first day of testing, or as many times as it takes for you to feel comfortable with the process. If you find any errors or have suggestions to improve this training, please email me and let me know.